Hey everyone, today we are going to be talking about powers and exponents and being able to simplify exponential expressions or expressions that contain exponents. The first thing we're going to talk about is how this is called a power. And a power is a base raised to an exponent. So now we're going to talk about those two pieces, okay? This is the exponent, and this is the base, okay? The base is the number that is repeatedly multiplied. And the exponent tells you the number of times to multiply the base. Okay, so in this expression, 10 times 10, those are the same base being multiplied together, and that equals 10 squared. So I can write 10 times 10 as 10 squared. So these are the factors being multiplied. That can be expressed with an exponent. Okay, and notice that these two factors are the same number so that they form a base, and then that is raised to an exponent. A couple of key notes. Any number to the 0 power is going to be 1. So my example is that 4 to the 0 power is 1, and then any number to the first power is equal to itself. So 6 to the first power is equal to 6, so we don't normally write that number with an exponent, but it is possible to write it with an exponent. The three different forms, or the three different vocabulary terms that I'm going to use to describe the forms, are exponential form, expanded form, and standard form. And I'm going to use an example to show what each of them is, and then use words to describe them as well. So exponential form is going to be something like 2 to the third power, and that is going to be the expression with the exponent. So if you're ever asked to write something in exponential form, that means write the base with an exponent. So it's going to be the expression that has an exponent on it. Expanded form is going to be to write out the multiplication. So this is going to be considered part of our work for these exponential expressions. So I'm going to start with 2 to the third. I'm going to write out 2 times 2 times 2. And then standard form, 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8, means to give the answer. So as we go through exponents and we go forward with exponents, we're going to be talking about how to write things in exponential form. And then when we are simplifying expressions with exponents, we are going to write them in expanded form and then standard form. So example 1 says writing products as powers. So I'm going to write each of these things as a base with an exponent. So first I need to count the number of times that I'm multiplying each base together, and then I'm going to use that as my exponent. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 7s. So this is going to be 7 to the 5th power. When you write your exponent, you want to make sure that you write it as a raised up little number on your base. Now in part B, we're doing it with fractions. When you have a fraction to an exponent, that fraction needs to be in parentheses, because I want to tell whoever is looking at this problem that I want to do the entire fraction to that exponent. And if I don't write the parentheses, I might think that it's only on the top. So there are 2 1/2s here, so I'm going to write 1/2 squared, and that 1/2 again is in parentheses. 3.5 is written 4 times. This is going to be 3.5 to the 4th power. And there is one single 8 here, so I'm going to write that as 8 to the 1st power. In my second example, it says evaluating powers. So now we're going to be finding the answer. So I'm going to write the power in expanded form. That's going to be my work. And then I'm actually going to do the multiplication. So here, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Now when it comes to the fractions, you can see that these fractions are written in parentheses. So this is going to be 2/3 times 2/3. So I get 4 over 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 3 over 4 times 3 over 4 times 3 over 4 is going to be 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27 over 64. And 2.5 to the 0 power is 1. It doesn't matter what the base is. If the exponent is a 0, the answer comes out as 1. Okay? In my last example, writing exponential expressions, what this is telling me is that 16 is the answer that comes out at the end. 2 is my base, and then I want to know what the exponent is. So I'm going to write my expression as 2 to some power is equal to 16. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to multiply the number 2 until I get to 16. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. And I wrote the number 2 4 times. So in my box, I'm going to put a 4. Part B, we're still using the answer of 16. But now my base is 4. And I have this box. So how many times do I need to multiply 4 together to get to 16? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. And I multiplied that 4 2 times. So 4 squared is 16. This one's a little bit trickier. So I'm going to have 8 to some power because 8 is my base. So here's my base, right? And I want the answer to be 4,096. So I know that 8 times 8 is 64. So I'm going to multiply by another 8. And that's 512. And I'm going to multiply by 8 again. And that's 4,096. So I multiplied by 8 4 times. So my exponent is going to be 4. Okay. So on these last ones, you're given the base and you're given the answer and you're trying to figure out the exponent. This lesson was simplifying exponential expressions or being able to write expressions with exponents. And we will be practicing this a little bit more.